Hi students, we are starting with the new topic, that is pollination. So in the last lectures we have studied about the development of male and female gametophyte. Today's topic is pollination. What is meant by pollination? Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of flower. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the flower. It is known as pollination. There are two types of pollination: cross pollination and self pollination. You might have heard about this term, self pollination and cross pollination. Each one its definition or what is meant by that we have to see. First one, self pollination or autogamy. Self pollination or autogamy means transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the same flower. Naturally, then that flower will be a bisexual flower, both androecium and gynoecium, that is male and female reproductive parts of the plant, it will be present in that flower. So in a bisexual flower, when transfer of pollen grains happens from the anther to the stigma of the same flower, then it is known as autogamy. It is a type of self-pollination. Next one is geitonogamy. Geitonogamy is a type of self-pollination only, but there is one difference. It is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a different flower of the same plant. Got the thing? It is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a different flower of the same plant. Okay, so here actually pollinating agents are required, then only this geitonogamy will take place. Pollinating agents, it can be abiotic agents, but it is required over there. Okay, it is a type of self pollination we are calling because it is happening with the same plant. The flowers, both the flowers will be on the same plant, but the process of pollination, it is happening with the help of pollinating agents. Okay, geitonogamy. So both the terms, I hope it is clear. Autogamy means transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of the same flower. The flower will be naturally, it is a bisexual flower. Now geitonogamy means transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a different flower of the same plant. Okay, that is geitonogamy. Geitonogamy actually example cucurbita. Cucurbita is an example. Now we will see cross pollination. Okay, we will come back to the example of each one. Before that, cross pollination or allogamy. Okay, cross pollination or allogamy means actually transfer of pollen grains, and there are actually two types: xenogamy and hybridization. Okay, xenogamy, that is cross pollination or outbreeding. About the hybridization, it is not mentioned only in your book. Anyway, what is xenogamy we will see. Transfer of pollen grains from anther of a flower to the stigma of another flower produced on a different plant. See this. So here two plants are involved. From one plant, the pollen grains, it will be transferred to the stigma of another flower of a different plant. Two plants are involved over here. Got the difference? And it should be of the same species. So there are two plants. From one plant actually the pollen grains will be taken from the anther of one plant, then it is going to another plant of the same species, and its stigma, it will be transferred. That is known as synogamy. Okay, it is means cross pollination. Now hybridization means this happens between two different species. That means transfer of pollen grains of one plant, it will be happening to the stigma of another plant which is of different species, then it is hybridization. Okay, so these are the terms you are supposed to know: self pollination and cross pollination. Self pollination, autogamy and geitonogamy is there. Autogamy means it is happening with the same flower. Geitonogamy with the same plant but two different flowers. And in cross pollination, two different plants are there, and but it should be of the same species. Okay, here all these terms it is being shown diagrammatically. Here self pollination or autogamy, see this the pollen grains it will be transferred to the stigma of the same flower. Okay, that is autogamy. Then geitonogamy means from one flower the pollen grains are transferred to another flower, okay, but of the same plant. That is geitonogamy. Okay, and what is allogamy? The pollen grains are taken from here, you see, by actually an insect. It is carrying the pollen grains to the stigma of another plant. Okay, that is allogamy. So what all terms we have explained, that is actually shown in this picture. Okay, now we'll go the different agents of pollination. There are two types of pollinating agents: abiotic agents and biotic agents. By the term it is clear, abiotic agents means no living organisms are involved through air, water, or it will be actually the pollination will be taking place. They are the mediators. Biotic agents means naturally there will be actually birds or animals, insects, they will be involved. Okay, so agents of pollination we can categorize into two: abiotic agents and biotic agents. First we will go through the abiotic agents. In that, first one is anemophily. Anemophilous means flowers, means the pollination take place with the help of wind. Okay, with the term don't get confused. Anemophilous flowers are the flowers in which the pollination is taking place through wind. Wind is the pollinating agent. What are the adaptations actually of an anemophilous flower? It can be asked for examination. In your textbook, page number 6, it is given the anemophilous flowers adaptation. The flowers are small, inconspicuous. It will not be actually the very small in size. They will be, it will not be actually bright colored. Okay, inconspicuous, colorless. No means it will not be having some attractive colors. Without nectar. Okay, nectar or fragrance, because nectar and fragrance, this all to attract the pollinating agents. Here wind is the pollinating agent, so the flower will actually it will be small, inconspicuous, colorless, without nectar or fragrance. Okay, then another point, they are light in weight. I told you they actually the pollinating agent is actually wind. So the wind should be able to carry the pollen grains easily. So they will be light in weight, lightweight, dry. Okay, easily then it will be carried, produced in large numbers, because through wind actually when it is carried there is a chance actually of wastage of pollen grains. So the large number of pollen grains it will be produced. Okay, now another point, stigma is feathery to trap pollen carried by winds. Stigma because it has to receive the pollen grains. It will be feathery, so that when the wind is carrying the pollen grains, it will be able to actually receive that pollen grains. Okay. Now another adaptation of this Anemophilus flower is stamens are exerted with long filaments. You know the structure of a stamen. So the filament will be long and the anther will be exposed out, so that through the wind it will be actually able to move. Okay, so that way versatile anther it will be present. Then both stamens and stigma, that way they will be exposed to air, so that easily the wind is actually able to carry the pollen grains, and the same way it will be able to actually put the pollen grains on the stigma. So the structure of the flower will be adapted that way. We will actually see the example of this Anemophilus flower. It is given in your book. The same diagram actually it is shown here now. See, this is actually maize, jawar, rice, this type of all cereals plants. They are actually the Anemophilus flowers they are having. So small, very actually light weighted pollen grains they will be having. Okay, and then even actually it is easily it will be carried by the wind. That way it will be very light weighted and powdery. Okay, so maize is given even the same way. Jawar, rice, wheat, all are actually wind pollinated or Anemophilus flowers. Okay, they are having. So the examples you can keep in your mind. Now we will move to the next type. The diagram is actually it is hydrophily. Hydrophily means actually the pollination take place through water. Hydro means water. The term actually it will be familiar to you. Hydrophilus means pollination by water. Now around means 30 genera of aquatic monocots, they are actually pollinating through water. Example Vallisneria, Zoostera, okay, Ceratophyllum, these all are example. Now there are two types of hydrophily, or in two ways actually pollination take place in water. That is actually epihydrophily and hypohydrophily. We will come into that. Before that we will see what are the characteristics or what are the adaptations of a hydrophilus flower. Flowers are small and inconspicuous like the Anemophilus one. Then perianth and other floral parts are unwettable. You know actually it is an aquatic means it is taking place in aquatic plants. So the what is perianth? You remember perianth means peduncle, petiole, perianth. These all actually the stalk of the means flower, leaf, or inflorescence. That way means it is termed in different terms. Actually when we studied the structure of flower, we were discussing this all. When we studied the structure of flower, actually different terms we have studied this way. Petiole means the stalk of the leaf, pedicel means the stalk of the flower, okay, peduncle means the stalk of the inflorescence. Perianth means in some flowers the calyx and corolla they remain undifferentiated. They actually they both together seen as a single structure. Okay, then it is known as perianth, and its member is known as tepal. You know, calyx made up of sepal, corolla made up of petal. But in perianth, its each member it is known as tepal. In 11th standard I taught you this. Anyway, here the perianth actually and other floral parts, they will be unwettable. They are not actually getting wet in water. pollen grains are long and unwettable due to the presence of mucilage. Actually, mucilage is actually a oily like substance which help this floral parts actually not getting wet in water. Nectar and fragrance are lacking. The same like anemophilous flower, here also nectar or fragrance it will not be there in this type of hydrophilous flowers. Now there are two types I said, epihydrophily and hypohydrophily. Okay, here the example given Vallisneria, it is actually epihydrophily. It is an example for epihydrophily. Here the pollen grains float on water surface and reach the stigma of the female flower. Vallisneria is an example. It is example for epihydrophily. That means above, just above the water surface the pollination happens. Okay, if pollen grains will be floating, actually the stigma also it will be there on the water surface, and the plant actually it will be submerged and dioecious, but when it is getting mature, the flowers, the pollen grains will come on the surface, as well as the stigma, the female flowers, the stigma also will be raised towards the water surface, and there on the surface of water actually pollination take place. So it is known as epihydrophily. Okay, male flowers float on the water surface, and the female flower also float, means when it is mature it come up above the surface, and there the pollination take place. Specific gravity of pollen grain is equal to that of water, that is why it float on water surface. Okay, some aquatic plants are actually here in your book given, they are anemophilous example, Potamogeton, Hologaris, that way some other means odd ones also there which are actually wind pollinated aquatic plants. But here Vallisneria, it is a hydrophilous flower, and it is epihydrophilous flower. Okay, Vallisneria. And some other plants also, lotus, water hyacinth, these all are entomophilous. Entomophily we are going to study insect pollination. But in hydrophilous, Vallisneria is example for epihydrophily, where the pollination take place on the water. Here both epihydrophily and hypohydrophily it is given. Here epihydrophily, just now we were telling about this, the Vallisneria on the surface of water. Here the pollination take place, male plant is there, male flowers will be means released, and from female plant actually the stigma portion it will be above the water surface, and the from the male flowers the pollen grains actually it will be getting transferred to the female flower, the stigma of the female flower. Okay, that way. Here in hypohydrophily, below the water, you can see the water surface is here. Below the water surface only actually the pollination take place. Male flowers actually over here they are having pollen grains, and it will be reaching the female flower, the stigma of the female flower, but below the water surface, not above the surface. Then it is known as hypohydrophily. Okay, so two types are there, epihydrophily and hypohydrophily. And in some aquatic plants there are anemophilous as well as entomophilous flowers also, that is air pollinated or wind pollinated one, Hologaris example is given in your book, and entomophilous one lotus as well as water hyacinth, water lily, these all are aquatic plants but entomophilous one. So this way little bit unique type of examples always keep in your mind, because it can be asked for examination.